All right, hello third grade. This week, we're going to be talking about sensory details so that we can find in our readings. So what's the purpose of this language is to paint a picture in the reader's mind. So when you read the book, you can imagine what's happening in your mind. It makes a story or a text seem real. And also remember to take out a piece of paper and a pencil and take notes as we go through this. These are going to be words or phrases that connect to the five senses and describe how something looks, smells, tastes, feels, or sounds. So here are our five senses. So we have our eyes, our ears, our taste, so our mouth, touch with our hands, and smell with our nose. So we're going to go through some examples. So for our sight, you will find these words in books and stories, and they're going to make the words that make the reader see what you are describing. You can write about colors, movement, shapes, and appearances. Some examples of words that you might see to go with sight are sunny, rainbow, deformed, flash, and shiny. So using these words help you make a picture in your mind of what you're reading. And we have sound. So now these words that make the reader hear what you are describing. So you could be talking about loudness, quietness, or speech. Any type of sound will do. Some examples you might find in stories are shout, whisper, roar, rattle, and whistle. And then we have our taste. So this would make the reader taste what you are describing. So what does it taste like? Some examples could be salty, warm, and I know there's some other ones. Oop. I got behind the picture sweet, burnt, buttery, and tangy. So this is describing how something tastes. You could be saying, oh, the popcorn is burnt, and so you're telling the reader what it would taste like so they could be able to imagine it themselves. Smell. We use these words to make the reader smell what you are describing. So you could be answering the question, what does it smell like? You could say musty, fresh, rotten. When you see these words in writing, they're helping describe to the reader what they're actually smelling. And then we have touch feelings. So they want to make the reader feel what you are describing. How does it feel? You could use words like wet, fuzzy, warm, rough, and soft. So now we're going to go through some examples. When you write, you can use sensory details to make stories easier for the reader to imagine. A sensory detail makes the reader imagine a particular sight, sound, smell, taste, or touch. So again, our five senses. It's adding a description. So an example that we could see in a sentence was, John's face was lit by glowing firelight. So that way you can imagine in your head, John, we know that he's by firelight, and could you imagine his face being bright? So sound, we could say, in the morning, Samantha awoke to chirping birds outside her window. So this will help paint a picture in your head. What the birds were doing, they were chirping, so we know what it sounds like. It wasn't just pure silence. For smell, we see, I caught a whiff of freshly baked bread as I passed by the bakery. So you can imagine in your head what it smelled like, freshly baked bread. And then taste, we have the sharply sour apple made Mary's mouth pucker. So they're helping give adjectives to help describe what's going on in the sentences. Ted was uncomfortable in his scratchy wool sweater. So that's how it felt. That's how the touch was. So again, this is just giving adjectives and helping you paint a picture in your head of what's going on in the story. So let's go over our homework today. So today we're going to be just sorting the sensory details. So again, this has to do with our five senses. Our sound, which we use our ears for. Our sight, we use our eyes for. Taste, we use our mouth for. Smell, we use our nose for. And touch, we use our hands for, how it feels. So we're going to have to read what it is. Humming bees. Do you hear them or do you taste them? So humming bees are usually ones that you can hear. So you just drag it down to the sound. And if you say cheesy pizza, is that something that you hear or is that something that you taste? Well, cheesy pizza is something you eat, so it's something you taste. Same with the bitter greens. Is that something that you hear or something that you taste? So after you read it, you have to think, which 5 senses am I using for our nouns? Because greens is our noun because it's a food and bitter is our adjective describing it. So it would be taste because that's something you can eat. And then a deep growl, is it something that you hear or that you taste? It goes under our sound and then you press submit and it goes good work. So just make sure that you're sorting the sensory details. So here we now have touch or feel and sight. So this would be something that you can actually touch with your hands, and this is something that you can see with your eyes. All right, and that is it for today. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you. And let me know if you have any questions about our 5 senses. We can review real quick again. We have our touch with our hands, sight with our eyes, sounds with our ears, smell with our nose, and taste with our mouth. So we're trying to divide our categories into which one is the most appropriate. Which one will you touch, and then which one can you see? All right, thank you.